This is the Hyundai Tucson, and it wants you to believe two things that not so long ago we thought were impossible. Firstly, it's only available in petrol or petrol hybrid, so it wants you to believe that diesel-powered family SUVs are no more. Secondly, it wants you to pick it over a BMW X3 or Audi Q3. But surely, I hear you cry, a Hyundai might be a sensible family car, but not a premium product. And what? No diesel? What is this madness? And while diesel might not be a popular fuel, it is pretty much ideal for a large, heavy SUV, as it gives you a lot of low-down torque and decent fuel economy, which is especially useful if you happen to want to tow something, perhaps a caravan. All Tucsons come with this engine, which is a turbo petrol, and this one does not have any hybrid assistance. The options are this one, as it is, or a mild hybrid, self-charging hybrid, or plug-in hybrid with this engine. So has Hyundai gone mad? Should you throw away that sales brochure for the diesel Volkswagen Tiguan? I mean, you probably don't have one of those anyway because they don't really exist anymore. Maybe close the tab or... Anyway, let me go and pick that up. Before we go any further, give us a like and subscribe to the Motorpoint YouTube channel. Now, yeah, now. Have you done it? Do it now. Where are my manners? I mean, please, of course. Now, let's talk about design. The front end is pretty unmistakable, and I love the way that the dual effect lights just kind of disappear into the grille when the car's switched off. But it's not really what we would describe as premium looking on the outside. So what about the inside? Well, it definitely does a better job in here. And one of the first things you notice in the front of the Tucson are these two metallic lines that start at the center console and wrap all the way the front, all the way around the front, all the way the front, I think I missed out a word there, all the way around the front and to the back doors. It doesn't even matter if I miss out a word because it's YouTube. I should have just carried on, shouldn't I?
I think you can still carry on.
Okay, I'm just going to still carry on. And what I also wanted to share with you is how techy this cabin is, because when you put the indicator on, this 10.25-inch display screen here has two little circles that show you your blind spot in higher spec cars, not in this one. Still good to know that it exists though. While that feature is great, what I would like to be able to do here is customize it. For example, see the sat-nav map or something, but unfortunately that's not possible. And if you think that the steering wheel design is a little bit fussy, then you'd be right. The touchscreen climate controls are a little fussy too, and we'd prefer proper physical dials and buttons, but at least they're not nested deep in the main touchscreen. Talking of which, the central infotainment screen is sharp and clear and pretty much lag-free, as you can see when I click on a few buttons here. And all cars, including the entry-level model, come with built-in sat-nav, and the same cannot be said for a lot of the Tucson's rivals. That said, you'll probably still end up using Waze or Google Maps or something when you plug into Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. There are plenty of other toys to play with too. On top spec models, you've got electrically adjustable heated and ventilated seats, a heated steering wheel and a panoramic roof. But even the basic SE Connect has electrically adjustable lumbar support, dual zone climate control and a rear view camera. Overall, the Hyundai Tucson's interior feels very impressive. Not quite as good quality as a BMW or an Audi, but still very, very good and actually better than a Volkswagen. And there's been two times in my life that Volkswagen has kind of surprised me. So I used to own a Citroen AX GT and I towed a Mark I Golf home when it broke down. And, you know, people would think it would be the other way around, that the Citroen would break down and the Volkswagen would be the one doing the towing. And then today with the Tucson blowing me away with its impressive interior quality. Once you get in the back here, I'm going to talk about seat space in a minute. First of all, I'm going to speak about what you get as rear seat passengers. So you get two charging sockets, which is very handy. And this is the entry-level model, so unfortunately you don't get your climate control settings here, but all the models above this do. There's some storage pockets, cup holders, and there's even sleep mode. And what that does is it cuts all the audio to the back, and any Bluetooth incoming calls, you can just have a little sleep. And then when you've finished from your sleep, you can appreciate just how much space you have. Now I'm only 5'4.5", so I have a lot of it. But those who are about 6 foot will also feel like there is enough room here. And then when you want to get out of the car, I prefer to use the Dutch reach and you know, check properly. But if you are having a bit of a dozy moment, there is a special safety feature that will warn you if there is a car or another vehicle coming. Hyundai says this boot will hold about 620 litres, and my cameraman wanted to say that's about 4 of me, and I think he's probably right. Now, if you go for the self-charging hybrid, you lose 43 litres of that space, and if you go for the plug-in hybrid, you lose 60 litres of that space, and if you have the mild hybrid, you only lose 4 litres, which is pretty good. Now, in terms of the shape of the boot, it's a very large, usable size. It's a nice square shape, minimal load lip, actually no load lip, look at that, it's flat. And underneath here is a little bit of extra storage, which is fantastic. The engine that I mentioned earlier is a 1.6 litre turbocharged petrol, and you can get it on its own, like in this car. And there's also 2 mild hybrid versions, a self-charging hybrid and a plug-in hybrid. All the Tucson's engines offer reasonable fuel economy, but the non-hybrid is probably the least impressive choice. It's quite slow without an electric power boost and also uses the most fuel. If you want four-wheel drive, then the 180 horsepower mild hybrid is your only option, while company car users will be tempted by the range-topping plug-in hybrid model. If you go for the 230 horsepower hybrid, it's less powerful than a 265 horsepower plug-in hybrid, but it's lighter, which means it's faster, and if you drive it gently, you should get around 50 miles per gallon. The plug-in hybrid can do around 30 miles on electric power alone, and when the petrol engine comes in, it's a smooth and seamless transition. Acceleration feels smooth and brisk all the way up to motorway speeds, and it pulls away smartly thanks to the instant torque of that electric motor. The automatic models have some steering wheel mounted paddles so that you can change gear, but they don't really suit the car's character and they do feel a little bit slow-witted. In fact, the automatic gearbox is pretty good without using them at all. How about the manual? Well, I've got the manual in this car and it's all right. It's not particularly slick, but it does the job. And unless you go for the non-hybrid petrol, you probably won't see it. You're going to feel pretty safe out on the road too. Every Tucson has automatic emergency braking as standard that can look out for cars, bikes and pedestrians. There's also lane keep assist. Higher spec models have even more active safety features, including a system that will help steer you back to safety if there's a car in your blind spot and you start to change lane. Plus, if you can find a car with the optional tech pack, you get various extras, including a bird's eye view camera and remote park assist. The tech pack also brings electronically controlled suspension, which you can switch between eco and sport settings. As well as tightening up the suspension, sport also gives you sharper steering and a snappier response from the accelerator. But just like the steering wheel paddles, sport mode doesn't especially suit the car's chilled out character. Stick to eco mode and the Tucson suspension smooths out most lumps and bumps in the road very well, even though it does jar over rough road surfaces occasionally. For quite a tall car, it doesn't lean too much in the corners, whatever suspension setting you're in, and the light steering means threading it around car parks is a doddle. Overall, the Tucson feels like a very well thought out car. Now, it might not be the most fun car to drive, but it's very capable, and what it lacks in badge kudos, it certainly makes up for in tech, which helps to keep you safe and entertained.